morning and welcome to God at Work. Today we're doing a continuation, really, of one of the very first programs that we did, God at Work, when we did the one called The King and I. And this is touching a few different issues in that continuation. So this one we're calling The King and I Part 2. And I think you'll find it quite interesting. But we're going to open with a song first that Jerry's going to do called 10,000 Reasons. 10,000 reasons. Can you come up with 10,000 reasons why you need to bless the Lord? Reasons that you've got to bless the Lord, to be thankful for what He's done in your life? I know I sure can. I haven't tried counting them or writing them all out, but I know I've got multitudes of reasons why I am thankful and reasons why I need to be blessing the Lord. So 10,000 reasons, Jerry.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. You're rich in love and You're slow to anger. Your name is great and Your heart is kind. For all Your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come, still my soul will sing Your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. Oh, bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. I will worship your holy name. It's something I've really been having to deal with and look at this last little while is really focusing on him and worshiping his name, no matter what situation I may find myself in. Excuse me. Is it easy always? No. Is it easiest way to go? No. Sometimes it's so easy for us to focus on our situation, on our circumstances, on everything going on around us. But we need to keep our eyes fixed on him and worshiping his holy name. So I will worship his holy name. Anyhow, as I said earlier, this is part 2 of number 8. Actually, it's the number 8 in the God at Work series. And we're up at now. This is number 42, so it's a ways back. So if any of you haven't seen it, I would recommend that you go back and look at number 8 called The King and I. And this is The King and I part 2. There's a picture I'm going to ask Jerry to put up, just a little reminder. This is the king. That's King Nana Sarpong. And we became very dear friends when I was living in Africa. That's me sitting on the chair there beside him. Actually, I was in a very dangerous position there. I was sitting on the Queen Mother's stool. I didn't know that. It was a cultural faux pas. I had no idea, but I was sitting where I shouldn't have been sitting. But I was sitting where the king told me to sit. So I was trying to be obedient, and because that's how I am. I'm just always trying to be obedient. The big word there is trying. But anyhow, there I was sitting there beside him on that stool, and Queen Mother was not a happy camper. But, oh well, I'm alive. I lived through it. But in that time period, I was really getting to know the king. We met in a very unusual way, but we met and became good friends. And at that time, up in his village, there's a few friends of mine that went up there with me, and we had a great time. But I learned some lessons up there too of cultural issues because we were up in his village, his principal village called Wasu, north of Kumasi in Ghana, and learned some really interesting things there. I was very new in Africa. I was very young and very naive, and I had some lessons to learn. But boy, did I get them quickly. But when I first got to Ghana, actually, I think it was my second night there, the king came to a concert that I was doing as a musician, which is how I went to Ghana in the first place, as a musician. And he was at the concert, and he came backstage to talk afterwards. And he asked if I would consider playing at his wedding the next day. And I knew nothing about the cultural aspects of their weddings. And so I said, oh, that would be an honor. I would love to. Well, I got there to play at his wedding, and it was some very strange customs to me. But at that time, there was a band. He was the chief public relations officer as well for the Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board. And they had a musical band that belonged to the Cocoa Marketing Board. And the main singer in it was a fellow named Pat Thomas. He was known in Africa as the golden voice of Africa. He did have a beautiful voice. He won all sorts of awards and everything else. And it was really interesting getting to meet with him. But because he was a musician and I was there to do music, I was seated at the same table as Pat and the rest of his band. So there's a picture coming up here of Pat. This was the studio in his house in Ghana, I believe. And a really cute little place way out in the boonies outside of the city on a dirt road, which a lot of the roads were dirt roads back then, to get to his place, and dead end street and everything else. And we went out there several times because he asked if I would do some flute with him. Flute was my main instrument, and he'd asked if I would do some flute on some of the stuff with them. And at the wedding, I got to know them a little better and played some stuff there. But we met and had coffee several times over the months. So when he sang, he was very animated, but he really got into his music. And there's a picture of him singing coming up here. There he is singing. He just loved singing. Absolutely got right into it. But over the months, we got to really spend quite a bit of time talking and with music stuff and just having coffee and things like that. And I got to share a lot with Pat about, what I was doing in Africa, why I believed that God had called me as a missionary to his country, and, et cetera, et cetera. And over time, he became very open and receptive to the Lord and ended up praying to receive the Lord during that time. And then he wrote a song. It came out on one of his albums, but it was called, I think it was called Jesus I Love You, or Jesus something. And anyways, it was came out on one of his albums that he wrote after he came to know the Lord. So it was really wonderful getting to know him in that time down there and share a little bit of his life and the things that God did. But this trip down in Ghana now, this last trip down that I'm going to tell you about today, it wasn't a planned trip. I had received a word from God that I needed to get on a flight, and God gave me the flight, airlines, number, date, time, etc. So I called up the airlines and I said, "Could you tell me, is there a flight number such and such connecting with such and such on this day at this time, etc.?" And they said, "Yes, ma'am, there is." I said, "Oh, well, I need a reservation." So they made me a reservation, and I got everything. And, I didn't have a penny, not a penny to my name extra, nothing. And I had 3 small children and no excess money, that was for sure. And so I was sending out letters asking anybody that could help if they, might have a, donation that they'd like to send in toward this trip that I was needing to make. And nothing came in. I kept checking the mail regularly, and we're getting very close now, to the time I'm supposed to be taking this plane. And I was supposed to be flying on a Thursday, and we were now on the Sunday before. And I had been, by that time, gathered $250. The ticket was going to be like $2,500. So I was at a church service, and there was a missionary from Africa that was speaking. And this missionary, at the end, was taking up an offering for his ministry in Africa. And, I'm thinking, I've got $250 for my ticket. That's all I've got. So I was going to put a few dollars in the offering. And the Lord said very clearly, write a check for every penny you have in your bank account. But God, that's the money I'm collecting for this ticket, for the flight you want me to take on Thursday. And he said, how much do you have? $250, Lord. How much is your ticket? $2,500. Can you buy your ticket with $250? I said, obviously not. And, and so the Lord said, sow it. So there I am writing out the check, and now the offering plate's coming along, and I got this check in my hand, and it's coming by, and I threw it in because I didn't want to. If I didn't throw it in, then I wouldn't have. And it got into the offering plate. Okay, God, now I'm back at zero. Now what? And God just kept saying, do you trust me? So, okay, Lord. So every morning I would run down the stairs, see if there's anything in the mail. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So now we're on the day before the flight, Wednesday. I still don't have a penny. So, okay, God, what do I do? He said, well, have you packed your bags? I said, pack my bags? God, I don't even have a penny for my flight, for my ticket. He said, go and pack your bags. Go and prepare. Take the steps that you can take. Go and do it. So I went home and I packed up my bag ready. I still didn't know why he was sending me to Africa even. All I knew was that I had to be on that plane. So I packed my bag. The morning I ran down those stairs thinking, well, maybe somebody has put something through my mailbox. Nothing. Okay, so I got out in a car to head out to the airport. What do I do? Nothing. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody's already paid it and it'll show up in the computer. I don't know. So I got out there and I get in the lineup to check in, and I walk up to the counter and the lady says, your ticket? And I said, oh, you have it in your computer. It's, I gave him my name, and she's looking at it. She says, ma'am, we don't have a ticket for you. We have a reservation, but we do not have a ticket. I said, oh, are you sure? Check it again. So she checked it again. Now there's a big lineup behind me waiting to check in, and I'm taking up this lady's time, and people are getting a little bit anxious and upset. Ma'am, just check it again. She checks it again. She said, ma'am, you do not have a ticket. You have a reservation, and you need to go to that counter over there and pay for your ticket. So I walked out of that lineup with all the people really upset because I was holding them up all this time. And I walked out of the lineup, and I really, honestly, I wanted to leave the airport. Thinking, okay, God, you said you had it, but you didn't. Look at this. I'm stuck here. And I wanted to leave the airport and just go. God said, stand right there, right at the beginning where the people were coming in to the lineup to check in. And I'm standing there with all these people coming in with their tickets, with their passports, with their suitcase, and checking in and heading off. So all of a sudden, I'm standing there and I hear my name being yelled across the airport. Rauna, what are you doing here? Are you on this flight? It was somebody that I knew when I lived in Ghana. I said, yeah, I'm on this flight. He said, well, let's go get checked in so we can go and have a coffee. Now, this guy already knew me from when I lived in Ghana, and he knew I did some unusual things. When God said to do something, he knew I did some unusual things. And I said, well, I'm waiting here for somebody, and then I'll check in. He said, well, no, let's go get checked in, then we can go have coffee. I said, I really need to wait here for somebody. He said, what do you mean? I said, I have to wait here. He said, who are you waiting for? And I looked at him. I said, I don't know. And then he started to laugh. I said, look, go ahead and laugh all you want. I don't know. All I know is God told me to wait here. So I'm waiting. He said, why? I said, well, I'm waiting for somebody to bring me something. I said, what are you waiting for them to bring you? You don't even know who it is. I said, I'm waiting for them to bring me an envelope with some money in it. So what? I said, yeah, I'm waiting for them to bring me the money for my ticket. But you don't know who? No, I don't have any idea. They started to laugh. He laughed so loud you could hear him all over the airport. And finally, he said, you really don't know at all, do you? And I said, no, all I know is what God told me to do. He said, come on, let's go. Now, he was quite a well-off businessman. So we went over to the ticket counter, and he said, you have a reservation? Yes, I do. And he said, well, do you have any empty seats up in business class where I am? And they looked at the thing and they said, actually, sir, the seat right next to yours is available. It's the only empty seat in business. He said, well, I'd like it. And he bought me a return ticket in business class all the way there and back. Not economy where I was. I didn't have enough money for the last row of the plane, let alone business class. But he got me a business class ticket there and back. So then we're flying all the way together. Even the connecting flight in Europe, we connected onto the same flight. And we land in Ghana, or we're circling over Ghana, not allowed to land because there was a big military issue in the country, and there'd been an attempted coup, and there'd been assassinations and all sorts of stuff going on. And the airport was technically closed. But they finally, because we didn't have enough gas, after the long flight, we didn't have enough gas to go anywhere else to another airport. They allowed us to land. And they really checked things very, very carefully when they let us into the country. And so then I realized this friend of mine also knew Nana. And he said, well, come on over to my house. We'll talk about it with you and my wife and I. We can talk about what we can do. And apparently we found out there was a list of people that were on the wanted list of people that should not be allowed to live because of their relationship with these people involved in the coup. And Nana would definitely, because of his position, been on that list. We knew that. So we were thinking of ways that we could possibly help him get out of the country and get to safety. We knew in the country he wasn't safe. He wouldn't make it. And so I'm thinking, okay, Lloyd, I have an idea. We could get a car, rent a car, and drive him across the border to the next country, to Togo. And at that time, we get him across the border, get him on a flight to England, because he had family members in England, and we knew he'd be safe there with his family. He'd have people that would take care of him, etc., etc. And so Lloyd had found out where he was in hiding, and when Nana was in hiding, and we went out. And Nana said, "I can't do that. It's very too dangerous." And he looked. He said, "If they found us, they would also kill you, Ron." And I said, "Look, God didn't send me here for no reason at all." And I told him of my experience getting here in the first place. And he said, "Look, I know you're willing to take risks, but this is really a life or death risk." And I said, "I have to take it. God didn't send me here for no reason. I have to take it." So I thought that, Lloyd would come with us because he could drive if we rented a car. I knew we needed to rent a car, a nice car with black tin windows all around, which was legal at that time there. And Nana said, "I can't go. If I go, they will know that something's going on, and they will be searching for Nana because they know of our relationship." He said, "You're going to have to go alone." Well, I found another friend of mine that I knew when I lived in Ghana before that was an American. But he looked African. He was a Black American, and he agreed to come with me on this trip to get to the next country. And so we're on our way. And we get to the Ghanaian border. And the guy at the border, the official, asked for passport, my passport, my friend's passport. They didn't look in the back seat yet. And so I just opened the window a tiny bit because I didn't want him sticking his head in. And I pushed them out. He said, "Open your window." I said, "Please, sir." I had the air conditioning on, and if I opened the window much further, I opened it a little bit more. I said, "If I open it much further, all the air con's going to go out." And I just arrived yesterday, and the heat is really getting to me. I can't open it too much further. So he took the passport, and he looked at me, and he looked at the passport, and he looked at me, and he said, "Rauna, you're back? Are you going to be doing some concerts? Is that why you're back?" And I said, "Well, I actually am going to be doing one. It had been arranged. I was going to do a concert on the Friday night the following week." And he said, "Oh, wonderful. I got to get tickets for it." The only thing is I knew it was sold out. And I said, "Well, it is sold out, but let me see what I can do. I'll make some calls and see if I can get you a couple of tickets." He said, "Could I have 4?" I said, "It's going to be stretching it if I can get you 2, but I'll do my best to get you 2 tickets. And I will have them, and you can go pick them up at GBC. They will be there ready for you," which was the a television studio. I said, "They will be there at the reception waiting for you." And so he took the passports, looked at me, looked at my friend in the front seat, stamped our passports, gave them back through the window, and said, "Okay, go ahead," and let me go and let us go. He didn't look in the back seat. He didn't look in the trunk. He didn't look anywhere. But then came the next big problem. Between the Ghanaian border and the Togolese border, there was a large stretch. I don't know exactly how long it was, but if I remember correctly, it was about 10 kilometers, I think. Might not have been, might have been more, might have been less, but it was in that area. And so, and along there, they had military police on both sides of the road, stopping whoever they wanted to stop, whenever they wanted to stop them, under the auspices of checking papers for the vehicle, checking whatever. And they would keep them there until they were given a little bit of a bribe. And I was praying, "God, don't get us stopped, or they'll be searching the car, and we'll be found with Nana." So I was praying, and my friend was praying the whole time. We're getting closer to the Togolese border, and we didn't get stopped. Now that is a miracle. I'd been through that stretch so many times, and we always got stopped. By somebody would pull us over. One's going one way or the other. We always got stopped. And it was like God had blinded the eyes of all of the guys on the side of the road. They were either busy with somebody or didn't see us, and we never got pulled over. So then we get to the next border. And again, same thing. I opened the window just a little bit. We were so close that I most certainly did not want to get caught at that time, because it was like a reciprocal agreement with the two countries. You find these people and either send them back to us, accompanying them so they don't get away, or you take care of it. So anyhow, the guy looks at me and he recognized me from music shows and concerts and stuff that I'd done in Togo. And so he said, "Oh, are you back for a con?" I said, "No, I'm just coming over to get some basic needs." And at that time, you couldn't get basic necessities even in Ghana. It was very, very difficult. Things like toilet paper or your general staples in food, rice, and all that kind of stuff. It was almost impossible to get in Ghana, but you could get it easily in Togo. So we used to quite frequently have to go across the border. But we get to the border, and to the next border. Actually, can you go to the first border picture, Jerry? Yes, there we go. That's the going into Togo, and the border entering Togo in Aflao, which is where we were going to be. And going through the border, and we get there. This guy recognizes me, and he says, "Well, are you going to be visiting anybody while you're here, family while you're here?" And I said, "I'm hoping to." He said, "Well, let me get a hold of some people. We'll all get together so we can all have some time when you're finished your shopping." I said, "Oh, that would be wonderful." So it looked more normal, and so we headed from the border, we headed straight to the airport. And my friend, he went in, because in that day you didn't have to, show your ID to buy your ticket and all that kind of stuff. So we went in and got the ticket, and he bought the ticket because the friend that had got my airline ticket down to Africa gave us the money to get the ticket from Lomé up to London in England. And we were able to get the ticket and then get Nana in and get him on the plane. There's the airport in Lomé. And we were able to get him on the airplane to get him off to England. Now, he lived in England, very healthy. He was very healthy. He lived there till a good old age. He died, actually. Excuse me. He died in England, but he died of old age. The next picture you can see is the border going as we had to head back to Ghana. And I mean, that's how a lot of times the borders looked when you were trying to go through. That's how it looked. It was crazy, but that is how it looked. And you can see that in a lot of countries, actually. I've seen it in different places, like in India and different parts of other third world countries. But we're heading back. But after, I hadn't heard from Nana or heard from anyone in his family for many, many years. And nor did I really expect to. I thought seeing him off at the airport was probably going to be the last that I would see of him. But then one time, would have been in about 97-ish, I think, somewhere in there. I had been speaking at Faith Camp, some of you heard me mention before, in Peterborough, and a young fellow that had come from Argentina up to Canada to do worship and music at my church. He came on that trip to do some music for the youth meetings at Faith Camp. And then when we were getting ready to go back, he had to get another visa because his visa into Canada was only a single entry visa. He didn't have a multiple entry. So we knew that we had to get another visa at the Canadian Embassy. And we went to the Canadian Embassy and to book in to get it. And they told us where we had to go to get the photo that he needed for the visa. So this was a photo studio just sort of around the corner from the Canadian Embassy. And my friend Ignacio and I, we went into there to get this picture taken for his visa for Canada. And I'm looking at pictures on the wall. They had thousands of pictures all over the wall. And I saw one. And I'm looking at it. Jerry, can you go back to the last picture of the king? The one right before the Togolese border. Yes, that picture right there was up on the wall. And I'm looking at it. And I asked the guy, "Where did you get that picture?" And they said, "Well, that guy right there," and they're pointing at the king. "He's a king." I said, "Yes, I know." That's a king, a real king. I said, yes, I know. That's me right there sitting beside him. They look at me, what? I said, yeah, that's me when I was younger. And I had really long hair in that time. And he said, well, and he had turned it over to the back of the picture, and he said, this man, son, brought this picture in because they were having a memorial for him because he had passed away. And this picture, it was in pretty rough shape, actually. He always had it in his wallet because he had told his son that that was his favorite picture, and he carried it with him everywhere. So he had all these copies of that picture made to be handed out at his memorial service. And it got handed out at the service. And it was just so amazing to see him. So I asked the guy if he could give me his son's number. And he said, I can't do that, but I can give him yours and see if he can get in touch with you. So I was able to get in touch with the son, got in touch with me, and he explained how the Nana had lived to a ripe old age, healthy, and just died of old age. He would have been pretty old at that time. He was actually the same age as my father. He became my African father because his birthday was exactly the same day and year as my father. And when he proposed to me, wanted me to marry him with a big faux pas that you will hear if you go back and listen to the first part one. And he asked if I would marry him and be his wife. And I said, Nana, I cannot be your wife. I said, you have 7 wives. He says, yes, but I make you number 10. And I said, no, Nana, you make me number none. But you can become my African father. And we talked a bit. Anyway, so he became my African father. And we became very good friends over the years. And it was so good to know that he had lived happy and healthy after he got out of Africa and got into England. So the next song I'm going to ask Jerry to sing, it's You Can Change the World. When you take steps of obedience to do whatever God asks, those changes can be the difference between life and death, but you've got to be willing to take that step. Take a step of obedience, and it will be amazing what God can do. Jerry, change the world.
You can't change the stormy weather. You can't change the sands of time. You can't change the rugged mountain, so it's easier to climb. But you can change somebody's life just by giving them your own. One by one we'll change the world, so come on, sing this song. You can change yourself, it might take a little while. You can change your friends just by giving them a smile. You can change the world, and we've got so little time to chase away the darkness and fill the world with light. You can't stop the rain from falling. You can't stop the ocean's tide. You can't stop the sun from shining, even if you try. You can change yourself, but you can stop that empty feeling. You can change the world of being all alone. Just put love in someone's life, you'll find love is in your own. Yes, you can change yourself, it might take a little while. You can change your friends just by giving them a smile. You can change the world, and we've got so little time to chase away the darkness and fill the world with light. You can change yourself, it might take a little while. You can change your friends just by giving them a smile. You can change the world, and we've got so little time to chase away the darkness and fill the world with light. Yes, we can change the world, and we've got so little time to chase away the darkness and fill the world with light.
You can change the world. But to see those changes take place, it normally means you've got steps of obedience you've got to take, whether you feel like taking them or not. I no more felt like going to the airport that morning without my ticket or without the money for the ticket than fly to the moon. I really did not feel comfortable doing that, but I knew God was asking of me. And many times we've got to take those steps, whether we're comfortable with them or not. And as we do, we see the world change. So I am so thankful that I was obedient, because it really did mean the difference between life and death in this situation. So let's pray. Thank you, Father. Heavenly Father, I thank you for your leading and your guiding, giving me steps of obedience that I needed to take. And Lord, I know that there are people that will hear this message, that they too have steps of obedience that they need to take. And some are very hesitant because they don't know what the outcome will be. But Lord, even when we don't know what the outcome will be, you do. And if you're asking, it's for a reason. So Lord, I thank you for what you did in Nana's life. But Lord, I also thank you for what you are desiring to do through others that are listening, making decisions to take steps of obedience or not. And I ask that you will give them the strength to say yes, to be obedient to you. In your precious name, amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. So, steps of obedience. Are you ready? Because when you say, okay, God, here I am, watch out, because he's coming and he will use you. Just be obedient. So, if you have been blessed by this message and you would like to sow into this ministry, Jerry will put the information up on screen so you know how to do it. And in the meantime, God bless you. We'll see you next week. And by the way, we have a very special guest next week, a friend of mine from Hawaii, who was Miss Hawaii. She was also first runner-up for Miss America, and she won Miss Congeniality in the Miss America pageant. So I think you'll enjoy your time listening to Camilla Gibson. So God bless you. We'll see you next week.